The Senate is on the verge of passing a bill that will weaken Dodd-Frank, the landmark 2010 banking reform law. The new bill will exempt midsize banks with less than $250 billion in assets from strict regulatory scrutiny and loosen some rules on small banks. It's a Republican bill, but it's also being supported by more than a dozen Democratic senators. Vice News spoke with former Congressman Barney Frank, the architect of Dodd-Frank, about what the new bill means.
I'm not wearing camera-ready pants. America's banking system is very different. We have a number of very large banks. People will be familiar with Bank of America, Citicorp, JP Chase, Wells Fargo. They have assets in the trillions of dollars. Then you have the kind of mid-sized banks. And then you have the community banks, the smaller banks. They like to be called community banks. That sounds very nice for them. And those are banks under $10 billion in assets. There's a very important reason for regulating different sized banks differently.
This has truly been a manic Monday on Wall Street.
The stock market suffered one of its worst days in years Monday. Investors reacted to a stunning reshaping of the landscape of Wall Street.
What happened in 2008 was a couple of institutions failed, whose failure went beyond hurting the people they were doing business with to the whole economy. That's the reason for regulating the big ones so strictly. So we've had three categories. Under 10 billion, clear cut. The largest ones in the trillions. Then you have the mid-range, and there's debate about where you should stop being just a mid-range bank and then move into a systemically important category for banks who, if they fail and can't pay their debts, could threaten the economy beyond just the people who they owe the money to. In our bill, we said above 50 billion, you would get put into the systemically important category. The controversy about the current bill is they went to 250. As to the Democrats who voted for it, I don't want them losing in 2018 because the community bankers were trying to get them defeated. People think of the big banks, JP Chase, Wells Fargo, as the most politically influential. They're not. The community banks have the most influence because every single member of Congress has community banks in his or her district.
If you're a product of rural America like I am, you know full well the consequences when a bank leaves town. It is just a matter of time before that community shrivels up.
I am glad to give those Democratic senators the chance to satisfy the independent bankers without a cost to the whole bill. The Senate bill makes a couple of changes I don't like, but 95% of the Dodd-Frank Act is unchanged. For all of the complaints about the bill when we passed it in 2010, and for all of Donald Trump's ranting about it, the fact that this bill is passing and making fairly small changes in the overall bill is evidence of how well it's worked.